The richest people in the world look at the same reality you do, but they see something entirely different. Think about that for a second. While most of us are chasing instant results, worrying about bills, or reacting to every little inconvenience, billionaires are operating on a whole other plane. They're not just stacking money, they're mastering their minds, their time, and their decisions in ways that most people can barely imagine. Imagine standing at the edge of a chessboard, but while everyone else is focused on the next move, you're thinking 5, 10, even 20 moves ahead. That's the kind of thinking that separates ordinary from extraordinary. And here's the truth. It's not magic, luck, or some hidden advantage. They've simply learned to think differently. In this video, we're about to uncover the mindset secrets of billionaires, the mental frameworks that turn ordinary people into architects of destiny. By the end, you won't just understand what they do, you'll start seeing the world through the lens that shapes extraordinary success.
Let's be honest, most people feel stuck. You work hard, you make plans, but somehow life keeps throwing obstacles in your way. You see others succeed and wonder, what do they know that I don't? Here's the secret. It's not about working harder. It's not about being smarter, luckier, or having connections. The real difference lies in how they think, how they approach problems, and how they structure their lives. Billionaires have a secret weapon, a mindset that lets them see opportunities where others see chaos, make decisions that compound over decades, and turn challenges into stepping stones rather than roadblocks. In this video, I'm going to break down the key lessons from billionaires, not just the obvious business hacks, but the deep psychological strategies that shape their success. You'll learn how to think long-term when everyone else is chasing short-term wins, how to create leverage in your life, how to master your emotions, and how to transform failure into fuel. By the end of this journey, you won't just know what makes billionaires different, you'll start thinking like one. You'll have the tools to take control of your decisions, your time, and ultimately, your destiny.
Let's start with the first secret, long-term thinking. Most people live in a world of instant gratification, checking notifications, chasing trends, reacting to every problem as it appears. Billionaires? They think in decades. Jeff Bezos famously makes decisions today with a vision that stretches 10 years into the future. Why does this matter? Because when you focus only on the short term, your actions are scattered, reactive, and vulnerable to noise. Thinking long-term rewires your mind. It trains you to ignore distractions, endure temporary criticism, and commit to a direction that compounds over time. It's patience, but not the passive kind. It's an active discipline that turns small, consistent actions into massive results. So, how do you start thinking long-term? First, identify one area of your life where you can plant a seed today for results 10 years from now. It could be your skills, your network, or your financial strategy. Second, make a small, consistent commitment, something measurable you can do every day or week. Third, create a mental framework that filters out short-term noise. Ask yourself, will this decision matter a decade from now before acting? The result? Your life begins to shift. Decisions that once felt stressful become clear. Distractions lose their power, and you start moving toward a future you actually design. Long-term thinking isn't just about patience, it's about building a mind that sees the bigger picture and plays the long game while others are stuck in the moment.
The second secret is leverage. Most people trade time for money.
They work harder, longer, and hope that effort alone will pay off. Billionaires think differently. They understand that the true multiplier is leverage, the ability to scale ideas, systems, and people so that results don't depend solely on personal effort. Why does this work? Because human energy is limited, but systems, technology, and collaboration extend your reach infinitely. Elon Musk isn't just building cars or rockets. He's building mechanisms that amplify human ability. Leverage allows him to do in years what would take ordinary individuals decades. When you detach your results from your personal effort, you create freedom, growth, and exponential impact. Here's how you can apply leverage in your life. First, identify tasks that don't require your direct input and see if they can be automated, delegated, or systematized. Second, focus on building scalable structures, whether that's a business, a creative project, or a personal habit. Third, surround yourself with people whose skills multiply your own. The payoff is huge. By embracing leverage, you stop being a prisoner of your own time. Your ideas work for you even when you're not working, and your impact grows far beyond what effort alone could achieve. Leverage is the engine that transforms ambition into reality.
The third secret is how billionaires approach failure. Most people see failure as a stop sign, a signal that something went wrong, that it's time to quit or step back. Billionaires see it as feedback. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, calls life a series of loops. Pain leads to reflection. Reflection leads to progress. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. Why does this mindset work? Because it removes ego from the equation. When you stop seeing mistakes as personal defeats and start seeing them as information, reality itself becomes your teacher. This isn't just a business tactic, it's a psychological tool that builds resilience, sharpens judgment, and aligns you with the natural rhythm of learning and improvement. Here's how you can start adopting this mindset. First, reframe failure. Each setback is data, not a verdict. Second, reflect systematically. Ask, what can I learn from this? Third, implement changes based on your insights and then move forward without lingering regret. The benefit is profound. By embracing failure as feedback, you stop fearing mistakes and start using them as stepping stones. Each misstep becomes part of a compounding process of growth, turning obstacles into advantages. You learn faster, adapt better, and gradually develop a mental toughness that keeps you ahead of the crowd.
The fourth secret is focus. In a world overflowing with distractions, most people spread themselves thin, trying to do everything at once. Billionaires, however, know the power of concentrated attention. Warren Buffett calls it the circle of competence. You stick to what you truly understand and invest your energy where it counts most. Why does focus matter? Because attention is like a lens. Scatter it and it weakens everything. Concentrate it and it magnifies results. When your energy isn't wasted on the irrelevant, you can achieve mastery, make better decisions, and see opportunities others miss. Focus isn't just a productivity hack, it's a form of mental and even spiritual discipline. Here's how to strengthen your focus. First, define your core priorities. Choose one vision or area to dominate. Second, learn to say no to anything that doesn't align with that vision, protecting your mental energy like a precious asset. Third, create routines and systems that reduce decision fatigue and keep your attention on high-value work. The benefit is transformative. With focus, your actions gain clarity and power. You stop drifting, distractions lose their pull, and your progress accelerates. Focus allows you to harness your potential fully, moving steadily towards goals that matter instead of getting lost in a blur of busyness.
The fifth secret is mastering time.
Most people treat time as infinite. They react to the clock instead of designing it. Billionaires understand that time is the ultimate currency, the one resource that can never be earned back once spent. Every decision, every meeting, every commitment is weighed against the question, is this the highest use of my time? Why does this approach work? Because treating time as precious forces prioritization. It reveals what truly matters and eliminates wasted energy. It's not about being busy, it's about being effective, making every hour count toward long-term impact. Understanding opportunity cost becomes second nature, shaping a life of intentional choices. Here's how to apply it in your life. First, audit how you spend your hours. Track your activities and identify low-value tasks. Second, schedule proactively. Plan your day with intention, allocating time to high-impact priorities. Third, create boundaries. Say no to distractions and commitments that don't serve your long-term goals. The payoff is immense. When you master your time, you gain clarity, control, and freedom. You start living intentionally, making decisions that compound over years, and gradually, the world begins to respond to the way you choose to allocate your most valuable resource. Time mastery isn't just efficiency, it's strategic leverage over your own life.
The sixth secret is emotional detachment. Most people let wins and losses dictate their mood, reacting impulsively to every success or setback. Billionaires, on the other hand, cultivate calmness and stability. They operate from principles, not emotions, maintaining clarity even under pressure. Why does this matter? Because emotions can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive decisions that undo progress. By regulating emotional responses, billionaires make rational choices in moments of uncertainty, whether it's a market crash, a business negotiation, or a personal challenge. Emotional control becomes a strategic advantage, an internal resource that protects decision-making power. Here's how to practice it. First, recognize triggers. Notice what situations tend to provoke strong reactions. Second, pause and reflect before responding, creating a buffer between impulse and action. Third, anchor decisions in principles or long-term goals rather than short-term feelings. The result is transformative. Emotional detachment allows you to stay steady when others panic, act with clarity when most are reactive, and maintain control over outcomes. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care strategically, letting your mind, not your emotions, steer the course.
The seventh secret is seeing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Most people view the world through a lens of hope, denial, or wishful thinking, avoiding uncomfortable truths. Billionaires, however, embrace brutal honesty. They confront problems directly, assess situations objectively, and adapt strategies to fit reality, not comfort. Why does this mindset work? Because success isn't built on illusions. It's built on understanding what actually exists and acting accordingly. By accepting reality, you make faster, smarter decisions, avoid costly mistakes, and position yourself to exploit opportunities others overlook. This approach echoes the philosophy of amor fati, loving your fate and using it to fuel growth. Here's how to apply it. First, practice honest self-assessment. Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses without excuses. Second, evaluate situations objectively, stripping away biases and wishful thinking. Third, align your actions with facts and evidence rather than hopes or assumptions. The benefit is clarity and resilience. By facing reality head-on, you make informed decisions, adapt quickly to challenges, and reduce the emotional toll of surprises. Reality-based thinking transforms uncertainty into an advantage, turning obstacles into clear pathways toward your goals.
The eighth secret is a commitment to perpetual learning. Most people stop growing once they've acquired a certain level of knowledge or skill, but billionaires are perpetual students. They're not interested in certificates or credentials. They are driven by an insatiable curiosity about how the world works, always looking for new ways to understand and solve problems. Why does this work? Because the world is constantly changing, and those who stop learning risk becoming obsolete. Billionaires understand that learning is a lifelong process, one that fuels innovation, keeps them ahead of the curve, and allows them to see patterns and opportunities others miss. By adopting a mindset of continuous learning, they stay adaptable, resilient, and intellectually agile. Here's how you can apply it. First, adopt a growth mindset. Believe that skills and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. Second, read widely, not just in your field, but across disciplines to gain diverse perspectives. Third, surround yourself with people who challenge your assumptions, sparking new ideas and insights. The payoff is immense. By continually expanding your knowledge, you develop the ability to solve complex problems, recognize emerging trends, and stay relevant in an ever-evolving world. Continuous learning transforms your mind into an engine of growth, ready to tackle any challenge and find innovative solutions.
The ninth secret is focusing on creating value rather than chasing money. Most people equate success with wealth, treating money as the ultimate goal. Billionaires flip this mindset. They focus on solving problems, making lives better, and creating impact. Money becomes a natural byproduct of usefulness, not the target. Why does this work? Because when you create disproportionate value, the world rewards you. True wealth is a reflection of the impact you deliver. This approach shifts the focus from ego-driven ambition to purpose-centered mastery. By solving meaningful problems deeply and effectively, you position yourself as indispensable, and financial success follows naturally. Here's how to apply it. First, identify a problem worth solving, something that causes significant pain or inefficiency for others. Second, find ways to solve it better than anyone else, deeply and creatively. Third, deliver your solution consistently and at scale, ensuring that the value reaches those who need it most. The result is transformative. By prioritizing value creation, you move beyond chasing money to building something lasting, meaningful, and impactful. You gain influence, respect, and wealth as natural consequences of your contribution, aligning success with purpose rather than greed.
The 10th secret is mastering your internal narrative, the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you can achieve. Most people see themselves as victims of circumstance, waiting for the perfect conditions to act. Billionaires, however, view themselves as architects of their destiny. They believe their actions matter, that reality can be shaped, and that persistence, adaptation, and effort will bend circumstances in their favor. Why does this mindset work? Because a sense of agency fuels action. When you internalize responsibility for your life, you stop blaming luck or waiting for opportunity. Instead, you act decisively, adjust intelligently, and persist through obstacles. Your internal story shapes your behavior, your decisions, and ultimately, your results. Here's how to adopt this approach. First, take full ownership of your outcomes. Stop seeing external events as excuses. Second, Cultivate a narrative of capability, resilience, and purpose. Remind yourself that your choices shape your future. Third, consistently act, learn, and adjust. Let persistence and adaptation reinforce your story of agency. The benefit is profound. By controlling your internal narrative, you develop confidence, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. You no longer wait for conditions to be perfect. You create them. Your mindset shifts from reactive to proactive, and you begin to live as a person who doesn't just respond to life, but shapes it intentionally.
We've walked through 10 powerful strategies: long-term thinking, leverage, learning from failure, focus, time mastery, emotional detachment, reality-based thinking, continuous learning, value creation, and mastering your internal narrative. Each of these lessons isn't about chasing money or status. They're about shaping your mind, your habits, and your decisions so that extraordinary results follow naturally. Think about it. Billionaires aren't lucky, they're consistent. They don't react, they design. They don't get swept away by emotion, they act with clarity. And they don't wait for perfect circumstances. They create them. All of these principles point to one ultimate truth: the ability to control your thoughts, actions, and perspective is the real currency of success. Here's the empowering takeaway. You don't need billions to apply these lessons. You can start today by thinking long-term, seeking leverage, embracing failure, focusing, valuing your time, regulating your emotions, facing reality, learning continuously, creating real value, and taking full ownership of your life. These are tools anyone can use to elevate their thinking, their results, and ultimately, their destiny.
Now it's your turn. Which of these billionaire mindset lessons resonates with you the most? Is it mastering your time, embracing failure, or creating disproportionate value? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear your perspective. And if you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to hit like and subscribe. By joining this community, you're not just watching, you're learning how to think differently, act strategically, and take control of your life. Remember, extraordinary results don't come from luck or shortcuts. They come from applying these principles consistently. So start today, take one step forward, and watch how your mindset transforms your reality.